Hey, this is Shrashira. Get a load of this. I wanted to make some ribs, right? But I didn't want to make the standard, grilled ribs. I didn't want to smoke the ribs. So I wanted to bake them. But not just bake them any kind of way. Now, one of my tasty ribs I enjoy when I go out to eat is Char Siu. Char Siu pork ribs. Yes, you can have Char Siu chicken, which I'm thinking about doing that recipe as well. Let you see how that is. But this is Char Siu pork ribs. Okay? It's real simple. It takes just over an hour to cook, right? But, you have to marinate it. It takes about a day and a half to marinate. But, if you want the flavor, you got to work for it. So, your end result is going to be this. Look at that. Doesn't that look good? So good. Delicious. The aroma's nice. And I'm going to show you how to make it. Stay tuned. Hey, this is Shrashira. That's the best elevator music I ever heard. Okay, so for this easy recipe, we have our ribs here in the back. It's a slab of ribs I cut in half so I can get it in the bag easy. I've already trimmed it up. I took the membrane off. Here we have about 4 tablespoons of sugar. We have some minced garlic, about a tablespoon of minced garlic, 2 tablespoons of oyster sauce, 2 tablespoons of hoisin sauce, about a tablespoon of soy sauce, about a teaspoon of sesame oil, and we have about a tablespoon of Chinese barbecue sauce. I like to use bullhead. Bullhead's pretty good. And then a tablespoon of Shaoxing wine, Shaoxing cooking wine. So now we're going to get these combined, and we're going to pour the marinade onto the ribs. All right, let's add the sugar. All right. The soy sauce. The sesame oil. A little bit goes a long way with the sesame oil. You already know that. The Shaoxing cooking wine. Throw the garlic in there, the minced garlic. All that in there. The Chinese barbecue sauce, the bullhead. Get that in there. It's going to give it some nice flavor. The oyster sauce. Make sure we get all that in there. Now you see why I wear gloves, so I can get my fingers in there to push it out. I need to get one of those real small, those crazy small spatulas. But I don't have it, so fingers it is. And our oyster sauce. Get that in there. Alright, so I traded out my gloves. Now let's get this mixed up. And we want to mix it until the sugar dissolves. Now there's one more little secret thing I want to add. You know how you go, when you go to the restaurants, the ribs, or the Char Siu ribs, Char Siu chicken is red? Well, they use red food coloring. So I'm going to put a couple drops of that in. See that? Good old red. Put a couple drops of that in. That's all you need, just a couple drops. And we continue. All right, now let's pour this onto the ribs. Okay, so let's pour this in. Now this is when I would use my spatula. I want to get all that goodness out of there. it all out. All right. Close the bag up and massage the meat. Get some of this air out. Now, massage the meat. There's all that goodness on there. And now we're going to put this in the refrigerator. I'm going to marinate it for a day and a half. But if you're in a rush, you can marinate for 4 hours, 5 hours, and you'll be good to go. But like I said, I'm going to do it for a day and a half. So I'm going to put this in the fridge, and I'll see you in a day and a half. Now, if you can, every hour or so, give it a flip and a massage. You want to get everything coated good, right? Especially the meat side of the ribs, okay? Especially the meat side. Okay, I wanted to give a little tip. Because I was thinking, a lot of you that try this recipe, there's the oven trying to rush me. A lot of you that try this recipe may not be able to find, Chinese barbecue sauce. In that case, you can substitute it with your favorite barbecue sauce, right? Or you can leave it out. And speaking of leaving out, the red food dye, the food coloring, that's not a necessity. That's just to give it a little red color. That's all it does. It doesn't add any flavor to it. It just gives that traditional redness that you see in a lot of the Asian meats. It's not necessarily caused by paprika or anything like that. Normally they do a fast way by just using food coloring. So you can leave that out. So what we're going to do now is we're going to actually roast this or bake it. We're going to put it on the second to the bottom rung in a 400-degree oven. Okay? And we're going to bake that for 40 minutes. Check it every 10 minutes or so during that 40 minutes. Because of the sugars that are in there, you don't want the sugars to burn. So you just want to keep eye on it. So let's get to it. So as you can see, on the first half of this cook, for like not the first half, we'll just say for the first 15-20 minutes, we're going to cook it bone side up. Okay? So it's in a baking sheet with a cooling rack on it so that the juices can drip down. It helps the airflow go around and cook a little more evenly. But yeah, let's get this in the oven. All right, we'll check it here in about 10 to 15. Then we'll flip it over. All right, it's time to get these bad boys to flip. We're gonna flip them over. All right. Then we're gonna give this side 15-20 minutes. All right, another 15 minutes is gone. We're gonna flip these one more time. Again. All right. We're gonna give these guys another 10 minutes, and I'll show you what to do after that. All right, so we're gonna flip it one last time, right? One last time for 10 minutes. And then we're gonna start closing the deal. Oh yeah. All right, it's time. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna raise this up by one, so it'll be in the center of the oven. And now we're gonna break out the big gun. One of the big guns, right here. My honey beer. We're gonna put honey on it now. And we're gonna let the honey caramelize. All right, so let's put the honey on it. honey on it. Big guns. Now let's brush it on. Alright, so back in the oven it goes. And this is going to roast 5 to 10 minutes, but keep an eye on it. You don't want to burn the honey. You just want it to caramelize, and keep it moving in. Once it's caramelized, it'll be time to take it out. Right, let's take these bad boys out so they can rest. Look at that. Oh my goodness. Man, just look at that. Doesn't they look nice? Juicy, shiny. We got some pull back on the bone. And this is gonna be delicious. So we're gonna let this rest about 10 to 15 minutes so all the juices can recirculate and be good to go. And then we'll cut it up and plate it. All right, so the char siu has been resting. It's good and rested. Now we're gonna cut it up. Now, when you're cutting it, I would recommend, and this is the only time I would recommend you turn over and look at the bones, because you can see the direction that the bones are laid out. So you want to cut in between the bones, right? So see it has a slight curve, and then place it on your tray or your plate or your platter, right? Because if you cut from the other side, you can't see the direction of the bones. Because sometimes they bend. Well, most times they're bent or they're at an angle. And another thing, while I'm thinking about it, when you present ribs to somebody, don't ever, right? Don't ever present it to them with the bone side up. Not cool. Not cool. In fact, me personally, it irritates me so bad when someone gives me a rib and it's the bone side up. It makes me want to boomerang it at them. Show me the good meaty side. Don't show me the jacked up bones. Right? Just place that on there. And I'm not double cutting these, because these are made to be served single bone. Right? And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take these gloves off, and we are going to garnish it. And then we'll be pretty much done. Doesn't that look nice? Incredible. Simply incredible. Now what I've done, you see, I've shifted it a bit, staggered it. Right? It just looks better. Now, since there's sesame oil in here, to complement that, you can put sesame seeds on it. But in this case, I'm not going to do that. But I did cut up some green onions. We're just going to sprinkle the green onions around. I cut them diagonal so you get the nice diamond patterns on them. I don't want them clumped up. It's going to be delicious. Now let's give a little flyby on this. Just look at this. Char siu ribs. These are pork ribs. Chinese barbecue ribs. It's delicious, savory, and you should definitely try this recipe out. You don't have to eat barbecue the same way all the time. Try something new. And again, if you like this, hit the like button. The throw your comments down there. I want to hear your comments. And subscribe, because there's more I'm going to be putting out here, and I don't want you to miss it. That being said, this is Shrashira, and I am out. It is rib time.